What? What's up, y'all? We back. See, we back. Y'all thought y'all caught me slipping. Y'all thought I wasn't gonna be back, but I'm back. 28 days of Black History Month, y'all. And guess what? We got light. Let there be light. We ain't in the dark no more. So basically, I just wanted to come in, y'all. It's been a real chill day. I haven't really been up to much. Pretty much it's been me just chilling, kicking back, reading some books, relaxing. Um, and just doing that, not really, no pressure, and that's kind of what I wanted it to be, like no pressure. But I've just been kicking back, reading books, and like chilling. Today, I am going to be reading. Well, you know what? Before that, yesterday, I intended to announce a book. Hey, what's up, Jay? What's going on? Basically, I wanted to do for Black History Month, I wanted to do a book like that we could all read together and basically set a date, maybe like the last day of Black History Month or like the day before the last of Black History Month. We could do a book and like just read the book and do like a discussion. We could do like talk back. Maybe y'all call back in. Maybe just have like a interaction, a discussion about the book. The book that I chose was Cicely Tyson's memoir, As I Am. I got the book the day after she passed away. I had no idea she was promoting her memoirs. I'd seen a ton of her like interviews and stuff before she passed away and had no idea that that's what, like the interviews that I saw, they literally were just asking her about being old and like what she wanted to leave behind, which I thought was weird, but in hindsight it makes sense that she was promoting her memoir. I'm really excited to read it. Right now I'm reading like 5 books, so but the thing about reading the books that I'm reading, one of them I read already. The other I'm basically finished with. One of the others, which is The Coldest Winter Ever, I still haven't read it. Y'all don't judge me, but it's getting done. I am I'm at the beginning, like I'm in like the first few chapters, but like I've started that book so many times and stuff has just gotten in the way of me like completing the book. So like I'm making my way through that, but I'm back to the spot where I last stopped, so I kind of know what's going on in the story at that point, so it won't be hard to put down. And then others are like instructional books and stuff like that, so I can easily fit this one in. But if you're interested, this is the one that we're going to be reading. This is the one we're going to be getting into. I love my Cicely Tyson. I'm really looking forward to it, really ready to soak in all that wisdom. Really ready to hear what some of y'all are thinking. I know some of my friends are already like getting into it, so hopefully y'all will be able to call in and we can have that discussion. We can really like honor her and send her off in the right way. Hopefully if you haven't bought the book, you can get the book. I was really adamant about supporting first week numbers and, that sort of thing, and really sending her off and really making a statement in that way. Just to support, you can get the book pretty much anywhere. I know whenever I was like, luckily I bought mine online. I highly suggest that just search, I guess, for which stores have it. A lot of the like main stores that you usually go to, have it. So like Target, Walmart, that sort of thing, they have it. They may not have it in stock, but you can find the one that has it in stock and just buy it online and do like an in-store pickup. That's what I did just to make sure that I could get my copy. But you could also order from like Amazon and places like that. Support your local Black bookstores. I'm sure they carry them. Isowan, I love Isowan Books in Leimert Park here in LA. If you're in LA, I'm sure they have it. Love those guys there. But support your Black bookstores. If you don't necessarily like reading books, but you prefer like Kindles and that sort of thing, I know Kindle and like Google Play and like all of those things have the book. So however you need to get it. Let's get into it. Let's really dive in. I'm excited for it. And look at this cover. She's just like serving. Like something I didn't know. I had no idea she was a model like first. Like she was a model and was discovered and started acting and like did all this amazing stuff. So I'm really curious to see just from beginning to end how it all came to be, and just really sending her off and honoring her in that way. But with that being said, tonight we won't be discussing Miss Tyson's book. We actually are going to be reading some folktales. I mentioned yesterday that I wanted to read some folktales. That was something that I wanted to do. I think folktales are amazing. I think they're perfect for Black History Month, regardless if you're older or younger. These stories have followed us since slavery, so I think it's perfect, and it makes the most sense for us to really dive into them, and honor them, and really get into them. Plus, they're something that I've noticed a lot. Sorry, my neighbors are coming down. I'm actually in my lobby. A lot of the stories that we brought over, of course, like everything we do, were stolen and capitalized off of. So a lot of these stories you'll notice, and they might seem familiar, and of course they would, because they're really popular, as they would be, and we deserve the credit. So my intention was to read one. I didn't really, I had one in mind, but I didn't, I wasn't opposed to reading others. And I mean, I knew of a few, but I haven't, even with this book, I haven't read through this book myself. I own it. A friend actually gave me this copy, and I hadn't read through it yet, and I was kind of curious about some of the stuff, and was just reading through just a little bit. But literally the first, I intended, so I know of the ones that I know of John Henry's story, which is classic folktale. I knew of Br'er Rabbit's story, which that was the one that I intended to read. And literally the first one, I flipped it open just to, breeze through. Literally the first one that came up was Br'er Rabbit's story. So I'm like, yep, that's the one we telling. That's the one we're going to go into. So we're going to do Br'er Rabbit tonight. And I know, like I said, some people may feel oh, it's for kids, and oh, it's, it's not though. It's for all of us. Which definitely share this with your kids. If you have kids, definitely share it with your kids. Definitely tune in for yourself if you don't have kids. It's for everybody. What's great about these stories is that, just a little history, Black History Month. The Br'er Rabbit story followed us from Africa to here. It was one that we brought, that we've passed down from generation to generation. And what's great about these stories, which, of course, our version is different from the one in Africa, and, the one in Jamaica. Jamaicans also continued, and people in the Caribbean continued this story as well. It was brought over. But, like everything, we all kind of have our different flavors and different ways of telling it. And what's interesting about the way that we tell it is that as Black Americans, we kind of used it as it served as a way for us to release. It served as a mental health tool, honestly. It served as a way for us to release all of that tension, and at least for just a minute, to release all of the tension, to release all of the anger, the frustration that we were feeling. The story of Br'er Rabbit is basically just the story of the trickster being an animal or character who is confronted by adversaries that are either larger than them or, more powerful than them. And Br'er Rabbit, which in Africa I think it's called something different. I know in Jamaica they call it Br'er Rabbit too. All of them being similar names, but the central theme of it being that this character that may be of smaller stature or less powerful, overcoming its adversaries with its wit. You know what I mean? Overcoming its adversaries with this natural way of being, with this natural flow, with this natural intellect, and really tricking them, or outsmarting them. And it was a way for our ancestors to like release that tension, and it was, these stories were way for us to hope and dream and see. We talk about, I know people call Black History Month, Black American History Month, Black Future Month as well. So just the idea of thinking about, the future and thinking about the possibilities and overcoming and this situation, whatever this situation that we're in this situation and what we're going through right now in America, not being the end, the fact that we will overcome, that we will what is happening is not meant to last. And I think that's a beautiful thing, and I think that's a perfect way for us to continue to celebrate. It's a great addition to the celebration. So I feel like I need to just go ahead and dive in, so I'm just gonna go ahead and dive in. Quick little caveat, I like my little tangents. Br'er Rabbit was the inspiration for, like I mentioned before, it's been stolen so much. Disney did a lot of stuff with it. I know there were a lot of themes used in Jordan Peele's work, his Us movie. There were a lot of things used there. Most notably, Bugs Bunny. Bugs Bunny is Br'er Rabbit, through and through. Bugs Bunny is Br'er Rabbit, period. Yeah. So you couldn't tell me otherwise. And I think it's quite obvious, honestly. But yeah. So looking at that, and I mean, obviously, I say that and just saying, look how iconic Bugs Bunny is. Look how popular Bugs Bunny is. Look at our work. Our stolen work at play. Look what it's become. We all grew up with Bugs Bunny, and little did we know we were watching Br'er Rabbit. It's sort of like Gullah Gullah Island. I remember I used to watch Gullah Gullah Island, and I didn't learn, Geech, which is a Gullah Geechee, derogatory, I guess, term, or it was used as a derogatory term back in North Carolina, and in South Carolina, whatever. I was used to hearing it in derogative, but whenever I came out here, I would hear people talking about, the Gullah Geechees or whatever, and I didn't know anything about the Gullah Geechees, and I started to learn more and more about Gullah Geechee culture, and I'm like, I was right there. I'm from North Carolina. Gullah Geechee culture is South Carolina down through even, I think, Florida. But I know definitely the coast of North Carolina down, South Carolina, Georgia, those islands, which maybe we'll get into it in another video, but they came in and took over a lot of the islands, bought them out and that whole sort of things, but they were inhabited by the Gullah Geechee people, a culture of Black Americans who have their own specific separate culture, sort of like the Creoles, if you don't know. But I was amazed by that. If you're curious about that, curious more about it, definitely do your research, but there's movies like Daughters of the Dust, which is hugely popular and I highly recommend, which was inducted into the National Film Archives. So I highly recommend that one. Highly, highly, highly recommend that one. I love that movie so much. It's by Julie Dash. But yeah, Br'er Rabbit has always been with us, and right under our noses, even if we didn't notice it, with Bugs Bunny and all the other characters and ways it's being used in the media. So with that being said, I can't believe I just opened this book and there it was, and I was thinking about it, and I'm like, you know what? I know Br'er Rabbit's in here, and as soon as I flipped it open, here it is on page 66. Okay, so we're gonna get into it. And this is my first time reading through it. I told myself, I'm whenever I do read it, I want it to be a first time. So, and it's not super long, so you guys won't have to worry about it or whatever. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm really excited. This is a part of our culture. This is a part of our history. This is ours. Yeah, so I'm gonna just get into it. Okay. African American folktales for young readers. How Br'er Rabbit Outsmarted the Frogs. This famous southern animal fable was told to the editors at a storytelling festival. There are many versions of this story in folklore, but this one, as told by Jackie Torrance, is the best. I got the best. I flipped it open and I got the best, okay? Okay, so, back in the days when the animals could talk, there lived old Br'er Rabbit. He was a fine fisherman who could go down to the river, drop his line into the water, and inside of 10 minutes he could have 25 fish resting right there on the bank beside him. But Br'er Rabbit, good friend Br'er Raccoon, couldn't catch fish at all, and he didn't like fish. He liked frogs instead. So Br'er Raccoon would go down to the river carrying a tow sack. He'd sneak up behind a frog, grab him, and drop him in the bag. When the sack was full, he'd go home, open the door, and there would be his wife standing there waiting for him. "Oh, good," she'd say. "You brought home a big parcel of frogs. I'm happy." One day, the frogs called a great big frog meeting because they were tired of some of them being being caught by Br'er Raccoon. They all agreed they had to do something to keep the raccoon from catching them. They decided to put a lookout frog on duty on the bank. They needed some frogs with good eyes, good hearing, and a good loud voice to warn them. They elected the bullfrog. The bullfrog would sit down on the bank and watch for Br'er Raccoon. When old Br'er Raccoon would get within about a half a mile of the river, the bullfrog would call out, "Here he comes, here he comes, here he comes." The little frog along the river would peep. "Here he comes, here he comes, here he comes." When Br'er Raccoon arrived at the riverbank, there wasn't a frog in sight, and he couldn't swim, so he couldn't go after them. When he got home, with that little empty tow sack, there would be his wife, waiting for him. "You done come home with an empty tow sack?" she would demand. "Well, I can't catch the frogs," Br'er Raccoon would answer. "They's all too wild to catch. Every time I get within a half a mile of that riverbank, every frog around them yells, 'Here he comes, here he comes, here he comes,' and I can't catch a single frog." Well, that would make his wife mad, and she'd pick up the broom and chase them all around the house. We's all gonna starve to death," she hollered. "Get back down there and catch them frogs." I'm imagining a black rabbit. Like, "Nigga, go get us some frogs." Let me stop, kids. Okay, one morning, Br'er Raccoon left his house with a bump on his head and an empty tow sack. And as he was going down the road, he met Br'er Rabbit coming up the road. Br'er Rabbit had been fishing, and he had a string of fish hanging down his back. "Well, howdy do, Br'er Raccoon." "Br'er Raccoon," said the rabbit. "How is you?" "I ain't doing too good," said Br'er Raccoon. "Well, you looks right down in the mouth," said the rabbit. "It ain't my mouth that I'm down in," said Br'er Raccoon. "See this bump on my head? My wife gave me that with her broomstick." "Well, why she do that? I can't catch no frogs." "Can't catch no frogs?" asked Br'er Rabbit. "Why? There's 1,000 frogs down there at the river, but I can't catch them. I goes halfway to the river and I can't hear it. I can't hear it. 'Here he comes, here he comes, here he comes.' By the time I get there, they's all in the water." "Well, sir," said Br'er Rabbit, "you need a plan. You need a plan." "I don't know nothing about planning," said Br'er Raccoon. "Don't you worry," said Br'er Rabbit. "I'm the best planner that ever planned a plan. I just got to sit here in the road for a while and think one up. Think one up for you." The rabbit sat back on his hind legs and put his ears up. First he scratched one ear with one hind leg like rabbits do. That was me. And then he scratched the other ear with the other hind leg. Then he hopped up and said, "I got a plan." "What is it?" said Br'er Raccoon. "Well, sir, come on over here. I don't want nobody to hear it." And they moved over closer to each other. And Br'er Rabbit looked about and said, "This here's your plan. Go on down to the river, and when you gets there, fall down and play dead like Br'er Possum." Then what does I do?" asked Br'er Raccoon. You don't do nothing. Just lay there and don't move for nothing. Don't move till I tells you to move, said Br'er Rabbit. That's a wonderful plan, said Br'er Coon, walking towards the river. I don't understand it, but it's a wonderful plan. Just as Br'er Coon got about half a mile from the river, he could hear the bullfrog start up. Here he comes, here he comes, here he comes. And the little frogs peeped. Here he comes, here he comes, here. That's me in my little frog voice. But Br'er Coon went on down on the river, and there he commenced to dying. Oh, he groaned. I'm dying of starvation. I ain't had no frogs to eat for days and days. Oh, I'm dead. And he fell on his back and stuck his feet straight up in the air. Kicked about 9 times, he lay there just like he was dead. Even when the sun came out and he commenced to sweat, he didn't move an inch. Then the flies came and landed on Br'er Coon. They walked all around on his tummy and all around his face and in and out his nose. And there the little feet tickled and tickled, but he ain't moved. The sun went on down and the flies went away in the evening breeze. Along the trail came Br'er Rabbit. Strutting up to the river bank, he stopped at the sight of Br'er Coon and looking to see if the frogs had popped their eyes up above the water and were watching him. He commenced to crying. Oh, he cried. My best friend, old Br'er Coon, has done fell dead. The frogs all came crawling out of the water to take a look at the dead raccoon. The bullfrogs called, "That'd be good, that'd be good, that'd be good." And the little frogs peeped back. "That'd be good, that'd be good, that'd be good." "Well, sir," said Br'er Rabbit, "I guess I better get to digging his grave. I promised him years ago I'd bury him when he passed on, and bury him here is his favorite place, right here by this river." And the bullfrog said, "Let us dig, let us dig, let us dig." And the little frogs peeped, "Let us dig, let us dig, let us dig." "Well, sir," said Br'er Rabbit, "since I'm so tore up about with grief and all, I guess I'd let you dig it. But I better stay here and tell you how deep to dig it." So all the frogs went and got their frog shovels and got in a couple around Br'er Coon, who was laying there playing dead. They started to dig, and they dug, and they dug, and they dug. Old Br'er Coon was going further and further down as the grave got deeper and deeper, and the frogs were going down with him. When the grave was deep, the bullfrog jumped up on Br'er Coon's chest, yelled out of the grave to Br'er Rabbit, Is it? Oh. See, I was expecting them to come. I was prepared to be reading in Av. So the fact that this isn't an Av is slipping me up. It's slipping me up. I was prepared to read in Av though, but this book isn't in Av. I thought I had a book that was in Av, and I think I actually might have bought it I think I bought it for my nieces and nephews. It's another Black American folktale book. I think that one may be in Av, but this one isn't. Hence the eyes. But is it deep enough? Is it deep enough? Is it deep enough? And the little frogs peeped. Is it deep enough? Is it deep enough? Is it deep enough? "Well," said Br'er Rabbit, "can you jump out?" The bullfrog looked up and said, "Yes, we can. Yes, 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 we can." "Well, it ain't deep enough. Dig it deeper," said Br'er Rabbit. So the frogs dug, and they dug, and they dug, and they dug. When the grave was 12 feet deep and old Br'er Rabbit was just lying there, the bullfrog thought that was deep enough, so he hopped up on Br'er Rabbit's chest and yelled up out the grave, "Is it deep enough? Is 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 it deep enough?" Baby frogs. "Well, it ain't deep enough," said Br'er Rabbit. "Dig it deeper." And the frogs kept digging, and they dug, and they dug, and they dug. The grave was 15 feet deep, and the shovelfuls of dirt that they threw upward fell right back down on their heads, and the bullfrog just kind of climbed up on Br'er Rabbit's chest and yelled up out the grave, "Is it deep enough? Is 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 it deep enough?" "Well," said Br'er Rabbit, "can you jump out?" And the bullfrog looked up and looked and said, "No, no, we can't. No, no, we can't. No, we can't." "No, we can't. No, we can't. No, we can't." Baby frogs. Br'er Rabbit yelled down to Br'er Coon, "Get up, Br'er Coon, pick up your groceries." "Pick up your groceries. The grave is too deep for him to jump out." I love this. So Br'er Coon jumped up and started grabbing frogs and throwing them into the toast sack. Well, Br'er Coon had so many frogs, he had enough to eat for this year and the next year to boot. And that's the end of that. Here's an illustration. I love this so much. Hold on. That was the end of that. That was the story, y'all. That was perfect. I'm done. That was hilarious. Oh man, that was dope. Takeaways. Pick up your groceries. I get it. I resonate with it so much. Like, and then just the idea of him helping his friend, like, it could have easily been Br'er Rabbit, like, just doing whatever. There's the story of, like, his friend, Br'er Coon, who can't, you know, he can't feed his family. Like, he can't do it. Like, he can't do it. Like, you know, these frogs are, like, you know, impossible to catch. And, like, he needed a good plan to get what he wanted. He needed to outsmart them because they clearly were smarter than he was. They clearly were, or at least was using, you know, their talents, their natural abilities to escape him. He needed another plan, and he got it. He got it from Br'er Rabbit. Br'er Rabbit was smart enough to outwit these frogs at their own game. I like it. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. And I love, like, who wrote this? Let me see. Includes favorite stories from popular African-American storytellers. Introduction by Rex M. Ellis. Collected and edited by Richard and Judy Dockery Young. Yeah, I like this a lot. I like it a lot. And it's like, what I love about it is like, it's culturally, like, it culturally resonates. You know what I mean? It's not some like old like fairy tale that's really just like culturalist and like generalized. It like feels like us. You know what I mean? And it's in like, even though it wasn't in Av, like even though it wasn't written in Av, it was translated in a way that honors Av. You know what I mean? It honors the culture. You know what I mean? It's accessible for people who aren't as fluent in Av, or have a hard time reading it. And I mean, I'm sure the people who wrote this book, this collection of stories, or translated these collections of stories, maybe wanted it, or probably more than likely wanted it, intended it for it to be published in that, but the publishers probably wanted to be more accessible for everybody. Which, I'm not familiar with August House. Either way, I love this story. I'm really excited to read through these. And like I said, like, it's so appropriate. Like, you know, it's appropriate in the sense of like, I could see why our ancestors like got entertainment by it, and like also like there's stories. There's it's a story, of course, but like there's great takeaways, you know, that you can apply to your life, and you know, especially in a situation like slavery, in a situation like, you know, hell, working at these 9 to 5s in a black body. You feel what I mean? Like, you know, being in these spaces and having to maneuver and survive. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. And I love it. And I wish these were passed down more. I wish we had these just, you know, I know some people had them growing up, but I didn't. And I would have loved to know that this was ours, and it was, you know, I wish I had this. And I mean, I guess to an extent, like I had like John Henry, like if there was one, it was John Henry. Like I definitely knew about John Henry, so, and I know that story is in here, so maybe I'll read that one as well at some point. But I'm gonna keep it short, y'all. I'm gonna keep it quick. I still have some more work and stuff to do, and some things that I want to tackle before the night is over. But I'm glad I got to get in and do it. This is day 3 of 28 days of Black History Month, y'all. And yeah, I'm glad that I'm literally like excited about this story. It was funny, right? Like it was dope. Let me know what y'all think. Comment, like, subscribe if I don't know if I'm gonna put it up on like any other platforms or whatever, but if I do and it's possible for you to subscribe, definitely do that. And definitely follow me for the rest of the 20, where we at? I guess we got 25 more days. We on day 3. We got 25 more days of the 28 days of Black History Month. Definitely tune in. Like I said, y'all, we're going to be reading Just As I Am by Cicely Tyson. So definitely be reading that. I guess I'll be giving y'all updates on where I am with that. But yeah, prepare for that. You can get it pretty much anywhere we can get books. And yeah, I'm excited. So I'm thinking, like I said, maybe the last day of the month or maybe the day before, somewhere around there where we can really like dive in and discuss Miss Tyson's book. But yeah, more folk tales to come. And y'all have a good night. I'm going to get back to it. But yeah, peace.